Welcome everybody to Games Cast by PanderNyrl. If you wish to see more commented games, please follow my YouTube and Twitch pages below.
On the blue team, we do see Evelynn in the jungle, Pantheon mid, Shen up top, Vayne Blitzcrank down bottom. For the red team, we see a Teemo, looks like either in the middle or up top, Shen taking the other position, a Nami Misfortune down bottom, and a Mundo in the jungle. Kind of interesting to see the Teemo and Shen both would teleport. I'm really curious to see how they gank with that, especially considering the other team has a Pantheon and Shen, which can also teleport around the map. Somewhat similarly, the score is 0-1 at the 3-minute mark as we enter this ranked game. We do see Teemo is up top and Shen is in the mid against Pantheon. Looks like in the mid, Evelynn and Mundo are going to duke it out. Evelynn is only level 2 at this point and not going to be very useful unless she really gets something going. She's sitting at 3 CS, which is not that good. She's chasing Mundo up top, and Mundo does get ganked, and he will be going down here. But will they get the counter kill on Teemo or on Eve is the question, but no, she does have a potion going, and she will be perfectly safe. Looks like Shen has teleported up top and is looking to help out. I'm not sure they're going to be able to get this kill. Nice taunt by Shen, but Shen will not be able to pick up the kill. Looks like Shen does have to flash away, making it a 1-1 score and about 200 difference in gold. And that was a well-played teleport by Shen there, using it to just get up top and really play defensive and help his team out. Looks like Pantheon's going to dive in there, taking a lot of damage from Shen and the tower. Looks like Pantheon does go down, making that a 1-for-1 trade. And Teemo has wisely stayed up top to pick up this huge minion wave. And thanks to that crystalline flask, he will be fairly safe. And even if Teemo doesn't get many last hits here, the experience from this almost 3 minion waves up top is invaluable. Looks like Nami and Misfortune are going to zone out Vayne for a little while down bottom, as Vayne just doesn't have the power to deal with him unless Blitzcrank hooks him in. If Blitzcrank gets a nice hook, he can do real wonders. But I don't think Nami or Misfortune can allow that. Mundo up top, hitting on this Shen, and Shen will be taken fairly low. But he does manage to taunt out the last second. Mundo is going to tower dive, but he will go down to the tower. Teemo will likely go down to Eve here, as he is virtually defenseless, and that was just a little too greedy. You needed to bully Shen out of the lane and back up. You can't tower dive, especially 5 minutes in the game when you're between levels 3 and 4. You just don't do that. And it looks like we do have Shen picking up the Ninja Tabi and doing some damage to this Pantheon down here. Pantheon does get several blocks off and really prevent a fair bit of the harass, as he does trade evenly with Shen here. Teemo has picked up a Doran's ring in addition to Crystal Vast. Nami does get picked up and knocked into the wall, and this is certainly a death for her, though the exhaust does save her for a few seconds. But the question is, will there be a counter kill on Vayne? Yes, there is a counter kill on Vayne, and it is a 1-for-1 trade, but it is a big win for the red team, as Blitzcrank will be zoned out here. I don't think he's going to go down thanks to his mana barrier, but Misfortune is going to wisely back up and accept the fact that you traded an AD carry for support, and that's a trade you should almost always make, especially if your AD carry comes out with higher health than the support. Right now we do see Vayne going for the double Doran's blades. Looks like Shen does jump in, but does not make anything of it, as he just was never in range to really get anything on his Pantheon. Team up top getting bullied around by Shen, as Shen has opted for the early Giant's Belt. Pantheon grabbing the Crystalline Flask boots and Longsword, likely turning that into the Black Cleaver. Nami with the early Sightstone. I like that choice, as it allows them to get early map pressure, and looks like Teemo is going to be jumped in here by Shen, and Shen will have to be forced back, as both of them are going to get fairly low from this. But Teemo is getting the better of the exchange, as Teemo can just throw out those poison darts all day long with no real consequence. Mundo has gone for the machete build. We'll see Blitzcrank with the early Philosopher's Stone. Eve is likely going for that torch. Looks like Teemo's putting out a good bit more harass on Shen, and we'll back him away from these minions, giving him pretty much free farm. Looks like Teemo does have a ward up in that top bush. And that's really annoying, but it looks like Lee Sin does know Eve is here, and I don't think Eve is going to be able to get that gank off. Eve is 6th at this point in time, having caught up very nicely after that slow start. Eve is looking to roam down bottom, as we do see her just passing the river. There is a ward that's going to expire, but it will not see her. And it looks like Nami is in range to try and knock out Vayne, but this will be the death of Misfortune. Will they be able to jump on Nami? Nami does go pretty low, and she will go down thanks to the nice Blitzcrank hook. And that's just the power of Eve as a jungler. Eve is incredibly strong at ganking from nowhere, like we just saw there. And that really helped out in that fight get the kill on Misfortune, because it might have been another death. It's like Eve does try and get on Mundo here, and will Mundo go down? Yes, Mundo will go down. There was no chance. Pantheon does try to jump in, but it is cancelled. And yeah, this is just showing off the power of Eve. She's incredibly strong in the jungle against uncoordinated teams. And that's why Eve was picked here. This is a solo queue game, and in solo queue games, coordination is not the strongest. If this were a high-level team, there would be much more kind of presence around the map, or map awareness, to really kind of know where Eve was. But considering the fact the red team does not have a single ward in the enemy jungle, they are not going to have a clue where she is. A ward near Race, or possibly even the blue buff, would really give Eve away, as she will likely gank after clearing either the Race or the wolves, as most junglers do. Looks like Vayne was getting harassed down bottom. Mundo has gone for a sight stone. Nami is picking up the mana manipulator and taking a fair bit of damage from Vayne. Shen has gone for the Durant shield. I like that pickup versus Teemo, who's just going to auto harass all day long. And there's just not a whole lot he can really do about it. And a little bit of extra damage reduction really helps. Blitzcrank is in the bottom, knocking out that ward, but it looks like there is a teleport in here from Lee Sin, and that is one dead Vayne. There is nothing Vayne can do about that. That was just a well-played gank by Mundo. And it looks like Blitzcrank will not be knocked up, but the cleaver misses on Blitzcrank. And will there be any more action here? Looks like Lee Sin's coming in on Pantheon. Miss of the Sonic Wave, and a cleaver does hit Blitzcrank. And a nice kick by Lee Sin, knocking him almost back to the tower, and this is going to be a dead Blitzcrank, as I don't think there's anything Blitzcrank can really do, especially with someone as mobile as Lee Sin chasing him, and Mundo, who can easily throw a cleaver for a nice slow. It does buy a lot of time for Nami and Misfortune, but they were pushing the bottom tower at that point in time, so it just means Misfortune gets another lane to farm for a few moments. Eve is coming in here to the mid lane, but she will not be seen. But I do think Lee Sin kind of suspects her there based on how far Pantheon is playing. Looks like Shen is taking a fair bit of damage. The score is 8-5 with a 500 or so gold lead. Pantheon's going to jump in up top and land right on Teemo, as Teemo gets absolutely obliterated. And yeah, that's just a well-coordinated gank. Nothing more than that. Misfortune and Vayne are duking it out, but Misfortune has the big lead on Vayne, as Vayne has opted for a crit build and just did not get the crits. Misfortune is going for the OP cleaver, and I think she will try and push this tower, as I think it's probably the best option at this point. But apparently not. She's just going to go back, finish off the cleaver, and go back to laning. She has a strong advantage over Vayne, especially in CS and kills, as she is 3-1-2 with 85 CS, that being the top farmer in the game. Looks like Lee Sin's going to pick up a Brutalizer next and go into the cleaver as well. We do see Pantheon going into the cleaver. Eve has picked up a needlessly large rod. Zeal up on Vayne. Blitzcrank with the sight stone. Shen with Mercury Treads, a rather nice choice, giving him some additional magic resistance against Teemo. And he is able to duel Teemo pretty well, except for the fact he hit a Shroom and the minions are completely blocking him in there. That's just way too many minions to actually fight in. Looks like Lee Sin and Mundo are opting for a gank on red. But red is not there, and they are now going to try and tower dive this Vayne and Blitzcrank. Will they be able to actually get a gank off? Looks like a mishook by Blitzcrank. Means that this gank will go on. Looks like the ultimate by Nami does slow Vayne, but it looks like Lee Sin is here to make sure Eve does not get a very good time. As Misfortune will pick up that kill on the back end, and Mundo gets away with very little health. Teemo has teleported down and made sure that this is a big win for the red team, as no one goes down and all 5 people are in this bottom lane. Pantheon is here if he wants to engage, but I do not think he wants to engage in 5 people. And they could easily take Dragon off this. That was a well-played gank by the red team, as they have now taken a 1,500 gold lead. And that's just that teleport from Teemo coming in at the last second to really secure those kills. I think there would have been a significant trade of at least 1 or 2 deaths there for the red team if he had not have come in, blinded Vayne, and just put out a significant amount of damage. Looks like Dragon was taken by the red team at about 1330 and 2 towers as well, giving them a 3,000 gold lead, and that is a big swing. Looks like Pantheon is trying to come down, but they will land almost on a Teemo Shroom, and if he wanted to pursue, he would have landed on another one as well. Good use of the Teemo Shrooms there, really covering his team's attack paths and retreat paths. Because if anyone wanted to try and come in from the sides, you'd hit a Teemo Shroom, you'd be spotted, and really not have much of a chance. Looks like is Teemo finishing else? He has gone for double Duran's rings and the Sorcerer's shoes. He's going for a Haunting Guise next. Shen, through all that, has just been sitting up top farming and doing a pretty good job of that. See any other new items? Brutalizer on Pantheon, almost Black Cleaver. Looks like Misfortune is just out of hook range as Blitzcrank tried to pick one up. I like that idea, but it just didn't work. It's a good try. Blitzcrank wasn't going to be doing anything else of any significance during that time, maybe grabbing a minion or 2 down bottom. But that's something you can try to really get the momentum back in your hands, as the red team really stole the momentum there. They were down several kills, but then they pick up 3 or 4 in that bottom lane fight, and it really swings the tide of these games. Black Cleaver is finished up on Pantheon, as it is completed on Misfortune and Lee Sin as well. Misfortune grabbing another Brutalizer, and likely going into the 6 Black Cleaver build. Or 5 Black Cleavers and a Infinity Edge, which is my personal choice. Lee Sin tries to go to the race, but is not successful, as he is forced to burn his ultimate there. Looks like Misfortune is going to be stealing the double golems down bottom, as there's not a whole lot Blitzcrank can do at this point. Teemo and Shen going to be trading up top. Teemo will not be getting the better of this, as there are no minions to block for him this time. And he is forced to back up and pop that Crystalline Flask. Looks like Lee Sin is going to be doing some major damage to his Pantheon, but there isn't a big gank on him, and that is not what you want to see when you come in as Shen. You don't want to see 4 members of the enemy team, and you are forced to burn Flash as well. And that is a really well coordinated gank. Nothing more than that. And that's what happens when the teams figure out how to play together. You don't get much time to, but once you do, it's really nice. Deathfire Grass Love on Eve, and Eve does hit Misfortune with it. Blitzcrank with a pull, but Misfortune with the ultimate really just shreds everyone in that team fight. And that is why it's called the OP Cleaver, as that ultimate shredded everyone near instantly. As that ultimate hits once every, I believe it's quarter second. And in 1 second you shredded everyone's armor and done a million damage. This Misfortune is absolutely on fire this game, being a part of 12 of her team's 13 kills. Looks like Lee Sin has pricked up a Brutalizer. And yeah, second Black Cleaver up on Misfortune, followed by a Vampiric Scepter. I like the choice. It gives her a ton of survivability, and she should be able to absolutely dominate this mid game. I don't think Vayne has a chance of getting any real farm or kills as long as this Misfortune stays around with her. Blitzcrank has gone for the Ruby Sightstone. Looks like Mundo has gone for the... Looks like he's going to go for a Warmong's build, picking up the Giant's Belt. Nami has gone for the Chalice, along with the Mana Manipulator. And Kage's pick. Any other interesting item pickups? Not really. Shen's about to finish off a Sunfire Cape. Warmong's is now completed on Mundo. And that's about it. Looks like Nami's even doing a good job of zoning in the middle, but Lee Sin is caught out. But he will nicely jump to a minion. Nami does jump in, and this will be the death of Lee Sin. A nice gank. And that will mean that the momentum is slightly in the favor of the blue team at this point, as Teemo is almost caught out. Pantheon hits a Teemo Shroom, and Pantheon pays for it. Misfortune is there, and Eve dies instantly. When your armor is being shredded that much, it is pretty crazy. I'm not sure what the blue team is going to do here, as this misfortune is pretty ridiculous. Looks like Teemo does get pulled in and will be taken down low by Vayne, but it does not. But the condemn does not connect, and it will be Shen trying to pick up this kill on Teemo, but he does not have any damage. While Misfortune has tons of it. And this Teemo, thanks to the fairly tanky build, did stay alive in that fight. And this will be an inhibitor going down, as there's no way they're going to be able to fight without Shen or Blitzcrank. Looks like Evelynn does come in here to pick up Teemo, but she will pay for it with her own life, as Pantheon is knocked up by a Nami bubble. And that's an impressive hold. I did not think they were going to be able to hold that. But apparently Lee Sin didn't get the memo to come fight at this inhibitor. And they got 4 people there, almost evening out the kill score. But the big difference here, and I'll highlight it for you, 6 towers, 0 towers. That is a massive gold swing, with each tower being worth about 750 gold. That is a huge, huge swing. Nami has completed the Crucible, which should allow Misfortune to stay alive in all of these team fights, as she will not be able to be taunted or knocked or stunned by Pantheon. Looks like Lee Sin's trying to come in here, and he will be taken out as he just gets a little too greedy. And that's closing the gap. And the big thing here is Vayne has finished a Phantom Dancer and has gotten 3 kills in that last little engagement. Vayne is going to be their big hope this game. If Vayne can get farmed, they stand a chance. Evelynn will be able to burst down Misfortune, and then Vayne can take care of the rest of the team. That's just that's how these team fights basically have to go. I don't see any other way of it happening if the blue team wants to win this. But outside of them getting a Blitzcrank pull. Blitzcrank pulls are always free kills, and you never want to turn those down. Looks like Blitzcrank is trying to get a pull here, but I don't think he's going to be in range of anyone. He might be able to get Nami there. Yes, he does get Nami, but Nami will just go down. Nothing really happening. Vayne does come in from the side using the Shen ultimate to come in, and that is a 3 for none. And they have taken the kill lead now, thanks to that very ill-timed dragon. And that was just a well-played Shen ultimate onto Vayne. Blitzcrank separated Nami from the team, meaning that Nami cannot use her support powers to keep everyone alive. It looks like Lee Sin's coming up, and so is Misfortune. And if they don't get this dragon soon, Misfortune's ultimate will shred them to absolute pieces. And this is a small place. Nice ultimate by Lee Sin to knock Shen around. Looks like Baron is sitting at quarter health. Looks like Misfortune will go in there and pick up Blitzcrank. She will pick up Shen as well. Looks like she's going for Vayne next and gets a huge hit on Vayne. But this does mean the blue team does get Baron in exchange for 2 people. Looks like Vayne is forced to burn Cleanse on a Teemo Shroom, and that's a little embarrassing. But they have come back in this game. They're only down 4,000 gold, and that is less than the gold of the towers. Looks like Lee Sin comes in and docks a kick right into Pantheon, meaning Lee Sin will be forced to run away. Looks like Teemo is coming up, and they are all backing away. Wise move by the red team, and right now the red team just needs to group up. Several of these last few fights that have been 3 and 4 people just kind of caught off by the rest of the team. And if they group as 5, they are significantly stronger as long as they can protect Misfortune. That's basically what it comes down to. Group up, protect Misfortune. Let Misfortune carry really hard. She has completed her Bloodthirster now, along with 2 Black Cleavers. LeeeSyn has completed a Black Cleaver and almost the Ruby Sightstone. Mundo is here and does get pulled in, as he does get taken low, but thanks to Nami, he will be just able to stay alive. The ultimate does go out, but Vayne gets a nice crit there at the end to finish him off. And that's what happens when you don't group up. They're losing a really commanding lead, especially considering the difference in AD carries. LeeeSyn has picked up a 2nd Black Cleaver. Vayne has a BF sword now and is looking really scary. Blitzcrank going for the Aegis of the Legion. The super penetration build is almost up onto Eve, as it looks like Nami is going to throw away some damage. And this Baron buff is going to keep everyone alive. Looks like the red team has decided to finally group up. LeeeSyn is going to try and pursue in hard, but I don't think that's a wise decision. He needs to just back up and group with the team. I'm going to probably say this another 10 times before they actually hopefully listen and group up. Hey red team, group up. That's exactly what you need to do, and that's your only chance of winning these team fights. With Pantheon, Eve, and Vayne, they're going to absolutely slaughter anyone they cut out. They also have a Blitzcrank, so if you're off alone, Blitzcrank can hook you and not have any retaliation whatsoever. And that's exactly what Blitzcrank is going to do if they don't group up. Teemo is hiding down here, and we'll try to get on this Shen if he tries anything, but he wisely just backs up. Eve is roaming the area looking for a kill, but here comes Teemo, and Teemo will get taken down with no real chance of winning return. LeeeSyn does teleport in, but all he can do is clear the minion wave, and they are still not grouped up. It's very frustrating as a commentator, seeing something so incredibly obvious that the players are missing. And it's not that they're doing anything particularly wrong, kind of staying solo, but they're just not grouping up. They just need to push out the lanes and group up. Teemo can lay a few shrooms in the lane, and it'll naturally push back. I'm sure that's not the best use of Teemo's shrooms, but it is a fairly viable use of them. Right now it looks like Nami is coming down bottom with LeeeSyn as well. Looks like Blitzcrank has come back to defend, as it looks Misfortune and Mundo are going to be split pushing. Pantheon with the ultimate does come in, and a hook by Blitzcrank means that Mundo is going to go down, as Mundo does not have a chance here. Vayne has popped her ultimate, and Mundo is running out of time on his. Blitzcrank does flash up and get the knock from Mundo, and he is dead. But the trade will be none, as Shen just taunts over the wall right there. And stays completely safe. And yet again, the red team has not grouped up, and they have let a 6,000 gold lead slip to only a little over 1,000. They have lost multiple towers. Like Shard of True Ice up on Nami. LeeeSyn with a 2nd Black Cleaver. The Torment up on Teemo, in addition to the double Duran's rings. The Torment up on Eve, in addition to the Deathfire Grasp and Penetration Boots. Warmogs and the Sunfire Cape are up on Shen. Vayne has completed her Infinity Edge and is ready to absolutely dominate these team fights, so it should be protected. Blitzcrank with the Ruby Sightstone, Boots of Mobility, Philosopher's Stone, and soon to be Aegis of Legion. Looks like LeeeSyn got a little more than he bargained for, as he runs into pretty much the entire team, and Blitzcrank lands another beautiful hook. And the red team is yet to group up and has squandered this absolutely insurmountable lead, and a 13-3-4 Misfortune is likely to lose this game, purely due to the fact they didn't group up. Nothing more than that. It really saddens me to see that. But this is what solo queue comes down to. Which team can realize that they have a lead and need to group up better? And the blue team here said, hey, we're down. Let's group up. Looks like Nami with a nice tornado, and that is a misfortune ultimate for the ages, hitting every single person. And this game is not over yet, as misfortune really comes back there, and now it is a 4,000 gold lead. That ultimate did so much damage. Wow. That almost killed every single person. That was impressive. I'm a little giddy after that. That just did ridiculous amounts of damage. Does it actually show how much damage it does? I never figured out exactly how to calculate the damage on that. But if you're wondering, it's a lot. Whew. And that means the first inhibitor of the game is taken by the red team. And apparently this misfortune is strong enough to carry, and all my doom and gloom was for naught. Looks like Eve is coming here and will pick up the kill on Nami. Before taking any retaliation, here comes Vayne, who does get a Lee Sin jump on, but Eve is taken down. Mundo is very low, as he was taking the tower. And this will be a 4-for-1 on the back end. Might be 5-for-1 as Lee Sin is running away. And I think Lee Sin should be able to get away from Blitzcrank here. And the blue team will be going and picking up Baron. And now that's how you throw away a lead. You stay just a little too long. If they would have backed up after the inhibitor, they would have had a huge lead. They could have contested Baron very nicely. And they could have easily pushed this game. But they said, let's play it risky. And risky does not always pay off. Looks like we do have a Hurricane up on Misfortune, really wanting to do a ton of damage to every single person in these fights. But Blitzcrank does pull in Lee Sin, and Lee Sin goes down. Looks like we do have Mundo picking up the Spirit Visage. I do think Armor would suit him better for this team, as there's not a whole lot of magic damage. Nami does throw her ultimate over, but nothing going, as the Baron was already dead. And this will be a big shopping trip for the blue team, as it looks like a Stinger is picked up on Teemo. And that's about all the new items. Looks like Pantheon going for the Boots of Swiftness. Interesting choice, as he really just needs to get on someone. I think that's a decent choice this game. Blitzcrank has picked up was that Frozen Glacial Shroud. I never can remember the middle part of the Frozen Heart, but, or the new Iceborne Gauntlets, I believe is what they're called. Shen up top doing his job of split pushing. We do have a Nashor's Tooth up on Teemo, and I'm kind of curious to see how that works on him, as I do think some kind of survivability would have been better. Looks like there's a teleport down here, as it is cancelled wisely by, looks like, Lee Sin, who did not want to go in on that very wisely, because he would have been instantly killed by the blue team the second he entered. And this is going to be a siege by the blue team, as they do have Baron buff, and Baron buff will keep them alive. Looks like Quicksilver Sash up on Pantheon, almost a Death Cap up on Eve. Quicksilver Sash on Vayne. Looks like Guardian Angels fairly soon for Misfortune and Lee Sin. Blitzcrank running up trying for a hook, but he will not be in range, as Nami does a decent job of zoning. And he just misses that hook. Just barely. Blitzcrank is fairly low from that engagement, with Misfortune, as one or two of her hits will really chunk people down. And if Misfortune can get another ult like she did last time, their red team can easily sweep this away. And I like this Nami Misfortune combo, as Nami has a fairly short knock-up and slow. Misfortune has a beautiful AoE ultimate. Looks like Vayne tried to get on Mundo, but that is a beautiful Nami ultimate, and that does signal the start of a team fight, as Misfortune does pop her ultimate, but is taken down immediately by Eve. And with Eve going down, Charge UI sub on Teemo. Teemo does not have a chance, and this Eve is going legendary, as you can't let an Eve get on you like that. They did not protect their AD carry at all, And that's what happens when you don't protect the highest farmer in the game. Let's take a look at her gold, as we do see the blue team going to come up here and likely grab and return it. Though those Teemo shrooms will keep them likely from grabbing the inhibitor. Look at that, 15,000 on Misfortune. That's almost 3,000 more than anyone else in the game. Mundo will be taken down under tower, and Lee Sin is going to be taken down by Vayne here. And this is a classic case of protect the carry. Your carry is so ridiculously fed, it's funny, and they're just not doing it. Eve is getting in there and bursting her down. That's Eve's job, and she is doing it so incredibly well this game. She just, her last thing right there, threw the Deathfire Grasp up, popped the ultimate, Pantheon jumped on top, and she was dead before the fight even started. She got her ultimate off, but it did not hit very many people, as they kind of half-heartedly engaged that fight down there in the mid lane. Any other new pickups on items? Looks like Nami will be going for the Edge of the Legion next. Looks like Frozen Heart might be up in Blitzcrank's next choice of items. Phage up on Shen along with the Wits End. And right now, this Teemo is not going to be very useful in these team fights. Teemo had his point to shine in the mid game with his shrooms and just kind of being an annoying objective taker, which is really all that Teemo is. Teemo just places shrooms in an area, pushes, and takes objectives like Dragon or Baron. But at this point, objectives are far between, as towers and the base are the only real objectives. And Baron, Dragon's not worth it at this point, and no one's going to fight over Dragon unless they have a superior numbers advantage. Looks like Death Cap has been completed on Eve, and Baron should be up in the next minute or so. Looks like the blue team is going to try and get a pick off on someone as they're pinging the top lane for Lee Sin and Teemo. Looks like Pantheon does come in here, and we will do a ton of damage to this Misfortune, but Misfortune will get away, and Misfortune will barely live thanks to that nicely timed Nami ultimate. Misfortune will eventually go down, but not before taking Pantheon and most of Eve with her. Eve will go down here. Looks like Vayne does get the kill on Teemo, and Vayne is in wrecking mode at this point. There's no stopping her. Looks like Mundo is going to go pretty low, as Vayne is carrying this game pretty hard. And there is no stopping her. She has the Infinity Edge, Phantom Dancer, Quicksilver Sash, and Vampiric Scepter, and this Vayne is unstoppable. There really isn't much they can do. Misfortune now has completed a Guardian Angel. Looks like Lee Sin is doing an interesting choice to backdoor. I definitely think that's a pretty good idea at this point, as that will greatly prevent the blue team from actually going in the base. And he will be able to get this inhibitor down. Will he try for 2? He just might. But he might not want to burn his Guardian Angel, and he kills those inhibitors very slowly. Up top, looks like Vayne has almost evened out the towers, taking out all of the outer towers but the bottom one. Blue Team Rise's Baron is coming up at any point now. We are going to see a fight at Baron for sure, no questions asked. There's going to be a fight. I like Nami's choice to pick up the Agents of the Legion now, as she really does need the aura just to keep Misfortune alive. 15 extra magic resistance is a whole lot, because without the aura she has 72, and you really need more. Looks like Nami did catch Eve out there, and Baron has respawned. The red team does know about it, but I don't think there's anything they can do, as Misfortune is just too far away from this fight. Nami might try and steal it, but no such luck. Blitzcrank will try a hook. And that's a little bit of unawareness by the red team. Blue team wisely just applied some pressure and took Baron. Both teams are going to back up and likely wait for their inhibitors to respawn. I don't foresee the blue team really wanting to have Shen split push at this point, as someone could easily get bursted down. pretty much everyone but Blitzcrank, or possibly Eve if she gets a nice shield off, will be taken down before the Shen ultimate does finish. Shen ultimate is only 850 health, and with how far Ms. Lee Sin and Misfortune are, 850 health is virtually nothing. We do see Misfortune selling off her Hurricane to pick up a Warmogs. I like that choice on her, as that will give her 3,600 health. That is pretty ridiculous for an 80 carry, especially considering you have 2 Black Cleavers and a Bloodthirster. Looks like Blitzcrank was caught out, and because they don't see Eve or Shen, they are just going to back up. Probably a smart move, as both of them were on their way, though Eve was still pretty far out. It's the safe move, and at this point the red team needs to give some safe moves. Looks like Blitzcrank coming up and hits Nami. This will be a dead Nami, and she will get her ultimate off first. Doing some pretty good damage, but Eve will get her ultimate off. And that means Eve does go down before Misfortune does, and Misfortune will pop that Guardian Angel. But Vayne is here, and Vayne is on cleanup duty. Vayne does knock back Lee Sin. Lee Sin gets knocked up by Blitzcrank. And as I said a moment ago, Shen did not come in with a shield. And Shen will be able to solo this Misfortune, as Misfortune does not have enough lifesteal or damage. Lee Sin down there getting knocked around. And Vayne will finish him off. And this should be a good game, thanks to a beautifully played Vayne, Pantheon, and Eve. And big thanks to the red team for kind of throwing it away by not grouping up. They had several opportunities where they were thousands of gold ahead, and they just didn't group. Nothing more than that. Looks like the final score will be 41-29, as Nami does not have a chance of stopping anyone. And the final gold lead will be 7,500. That was a very impressive game there by Eve, Vayne, and Shen, Blitzcrank, and Pantheon. The entire blue team I'm giving a lot of credit for. They realized what their team comp did. Their team comp picked people off. They especially picked off small groups of people. Because you could have Evelynn throw the slowdown, Pantheon knock a Heartseeker strike over 2 people, and they die pretty quickly. And they played that to perfection. And that was a just beautiful game by them. They were down fairly heavily early. And even the gold reflects that, as Misfortune had the highest gold in the game by a real significant amount.
Thank you for watching Games Cast by PanderNyrl. If you wish to see more, follow my YouTube and Twitch pages below.